Hello students, I welcome you heartily into this new class. So let us come together, learn together and acquire more knowledge. And these days we are studying about things that are very closer to our life, especially the example of soil. Without soil we cannot live, we cannot think about a situation where we will live without soil, without land. So it is very important to know about the nature of the soil and how we live on the soil, how the soil is formed, all that we shall see today. You can take your textbook, page number 13. And soil, a thin layer of grainy substance covering the surface of the earth is called soil. You can underline in your textbook what is soil. So it is a grainy substance, grain like sand, no? That is called grain, powdery type. So the soil, all of you know, it is like small grain, small pieces, because the soil is formed by the powdering of the rock. So that is why it is looking like a grain, small pieces. And so that grainy substance covering the face of the earth, that is the top part of the earth, that is called soil. So you can underline what is soil. So what is, can we say again the definition of soil? The grainy substance that covers the surface of the earth is called soil. And it is closely linked to the land. The land and the soil, they are very closely linked, connected. And landforms determine the type of soil. So what type of soil we will have? So wherever you go, the soil is not same. Some places we will find red soil, some places we will find brown soil or black soil. The color is different. The nature also is different. Some places we find the soil is full of sand. Some places it is very sticky soil. Some places it is very hard soil. So the soil is different from place to place. And what is the reason for the difference? The difference is because of the land forms. What kind of land it is? Is it a plain land, or is it a hilly land, or is it a high land, or is it a valley? So it all depends on what kind of land is there. The soil will be different from place to place depending on the form, land forms. Then soil is made up of organic matter. So the top part of the earth, the soil, that is made up of organic matter. The things that are on the earth, maybe the trees, the animals, their waste, all that will be forming together, will be becoming part of the mud, the earth, and become soil. So organic matter is there in the soil, then minerals are there, then weathered rocks. Weathered rocks means the rocks that are getting powdered, that is called weathered rocks. You'll find in the glossary, given in the right side of your page. Glossary is given there. See what is the meaning of weathering. The breaking up and decay of exposed rocks. The rocks that are on top of the earth, they get decayed by the temperature changes. When the temperature is changing, the rocks are getting decayed, the rocks are getting powdered. For example, in the summer season, the rocks may get powdered because of the high temperature. Then in the winter season, because of very too cold, too low temperature, again it may affect the rocks. So rocks get powdered slowly. Not within 1 day or 2 days or 1 year, but it may take years. Slowly, part by part, the stone will be getting powdered. And also change the frost action. Because of the frost, in the winter season there will be frost that can affect the stone. and plants, animals. So plants, sometimes there may be some crack in the stone and the roots of the tree will enter inside, and the roots are becoming bigger and bigger. The stone will be cracking more and more, and the crack become bigger. So that also even the trees can break this rock. Then because of animals and human beings, all of our activity also stones get withered. So through any activity, through human beings or animals or trees or other climate, the temperature, the stones getting withered, stones getting powdered. That is called weathering. So that way the stone gets powdered and that become part of the soil. Then, so what are the things we found in the soil? Soil is made up of organic matter, then minerals are there, then weathered rocks, the rocks that are the decayed rocks are there. Then this happens through the process of weathering. So all this happens, that process of stone getting decayed, that is called weathering. The right mix of minerals and organic matter make the soil fertile. So sometimes we see some soils are very fertile, very good for cultivation, and when we cultivate there, we get very good harvest. But some places soil is not at all good. It is very sandy soil, red soil, no manure, no at all, and does not produce any good harvest. So why the soil is different from place to place? What is the reason? It is because it is depending on the things that are mixed inside. What are the contents of the soil? If the minerals and the organic matter are mixed properly, then that soil become very good. Suppose organic matter is very less and minerals are more, then it is not the right mix. So we have to mix it rightly, that correct proportion should be there. Then the soil becomes very fertile. Minerals and organic matter, these two are important. And you can see in your textbook a very nice picture is given there. See, so it is like a human being. The soil is presented. A part of the soil is cut and taken out. So a part of the earth is cut and taken out. So if you just like a piece of cake, we cut and take from top to bottom. So the top part of the soil is cut and taken, and let's see what we will find on top. On top we will find lot of grass growing there, is not? You can see it's like a human being's hair, but it is grass. On top we will find grass. What else we will find? We will find grass or vegetation, and we also will find humus. So all the organic matters that are falling down on the top of the soil, the leaves of the tree, the dead animals, the waste of the animals, the cow dung and all those things. So all that is together, it is forming humus. So it is because the humus, the plants, the vegetation is growing very well. That's what we will find on top layer. Then below that we will find subsoil. Here we will find subsoil. So the fine soil or the best soil is on top. Below that we will find subsoil. Like we say sub-inspector, no? So it is subsoil. So, and what are the things you find in the subsoil? You will find sand, then silt and clay. That is what we find here. And on top we will find humus and vegetation. Humus and vegetation. And here we find in the subsoil we find sand, soil and silt. Sand, silt and clay. Then the third part we find the weathered rock material. The weathered rock. So we find the third part of the earth, the weathered rock material. Then below that we will find the parental rock. Parental rock. Parental rock. So this is what we will see if you dig deep into the earth. Top part we will find very soft soil which is filled with humus and vegetation, grass and small plants and so on. Below that, if you dig little more, we will find hard mud, subsoil, and we will find sand, silt, clay and so on. And again, if you go little more deep, you will find rock pieces, small rocks are there, not very hard. And if you go down again, you will find the parental rock, the hard rock. So that is the structure of the earth. How from top when we look, we don't realize what are the things lying underneath, isn't it? So this is how the earth is formed. Now the fact about the soil, how the soil is formed, that is what we shall see now. So soil formation, how the soil is formed, let us see. Soil formation, how the soil is formed. Can anyone of you imagine how the soil is formed? We already said the soil contains of what? Minerals, the humus and so on, the organic matter and so on. So this formation of the soil does not take place in a sudden way. It takes millions of years. You can see a small column is given there. Do you know? It takes hundreds of years to make just 1 centimeter of soil. So you know what is 1 centimeter? It is just so little. So this is 1 centimeter. You can see 1 centimeter. So to have this much soil, that means less than the size of your finger, no? It takes hundreds of years. So you can imagine how precious this soil is. If you want to get a 1 centimeter thick soil, we have to wait hundreds of years, which we will not be able to see in our lifetime. We are not going to live more than 100 years. So the soil, to lose it so easy. If there is a landslide, or if there is a flood, or if there is water flowing in the loose soil, the soil is simply washed away. Meters deep down, soil is lost. And remember, to form 1 centimeter of soil, we need hundreds of years. So it is so difficult to form the soil, but so easy to destroy. 1 rain is enough. The soil such a long, maybe 1 meter, 2 meters long nala can be created where the water is flowing. So we need to take care of this soil nicely, because it is a precious gift of the nature and it takes hundreds of years to form it. So let's see what are the factors that are helping to form the soil. And the major factors of soil formation are the nature of the parent rock and climatic factors. So parent rock, we said in that picture, it is at the down part, that is a parental rock. So the soil depends on what type of rock is there under the earth. So this rock slowly start cracking and become part of the soil, become powder and form the soil. So it is depending on the nature of the parent rock and the climatic factors, which is the climate of that region. Is it a hot region, or is it a normal climate, or is it a cold climate? It all depends on the climate. According to the climate, the rocks, the parental rocks, starts decaying faster. Then other factors are topography, role of organic material, and time taken for the composition of the soil formation. So, what are the other factors? Depending on the nature of the soil, it is the topography, the top part of the earth. What kind of land we have? Is it a plain? Is it valley or hill? Or is it a highland? So, topography also matters. The soil will be formed accordingly. Then, the role of organic material. So, what kind of organic material is there? Are there enough trees, or are there animals living there? Is the grass growing there? So, what are the organic things found there? Accordingly, soil also will be changed. Then, the time taken for the composition of soil formation. So, how long ago this soil was formed? Is it a new soil or is it an old soil? So we know old soil means it will be more fertile. New soil means it will not be that fertile. And all these differ from place to place. So everywhere we go, it will not be same. It will be different from place to place. And you can see a chart is given there. You can see nicely in your textbook. And it is the soil is given in the center, and for 5 facts are there given above. So what is parental rock? So parental rock determines the color of the soil, the texture of the soil, the chemical properties of the soil, and mineral content and permeability. So all this quality of the soil depends on the parental rock, because the soil originally comes from the breaking or the cracking of this or digging of this parental rock. So slowly all the qualities of that parental rock will be there in this soil. Then relief. How the relief? Relief means whether it is high place or low place. Altitude and slope determine accumulation of soil. So the altitude, the height of the place, and the slope, how slope it is. Is it a hilly region or valley or sloping down? So all these will depend on how this soil is accumulated. So if it is a sloping land, then below the soil will be accumulated. If it is a highland or hill land, then on top soil cannot be, from the top soil will be coming down. Then flora, fauna and microorganisms affect the range of humus formation. So the humus formation, humus that we find on top of the layer, the soil, and more humus will be formed if there is more flora or more fauna, that is more plants, more trees and more animals are there, means more humus will be formed, and more microorganisms are also needed. Microorganism means small creatures, the germ, the small the creatures we can say that is working or living in the soil, small worms and so on. They are all microorganisms. We may think that they are so unimportant, but they are doing a great task of making this soil more fertile, like earthworms. Even much small creatures are there, ants and other small creatures are there living under the earth. They are all microorganisms. They are all important. Then the time also is important. Time determines the thickness of soil profile. So how long ago the soil was formed, that will depends on the thickness of the soil. If the soil is very thick, we can understand this soil is an old soil. It was formed long ago. Then the climate, temperature, then rainfall, they all influence the rate of weathering and humus. So if the temperature is high or very low, the extreme temperature will speed up the weathering of the parental rock. Rocks will get decay very fast if the weather is very extreme. And also the rainfall. If there is a rainfall, that also can affect the decay of the parental rock. and it will influence the rate of weathering and humus. So if there is rain and so the rate of humus also will be increasing faster. So that is very important, how the soil is formed, and to have that proper knowledge of how soil is formed, how many years it takes to form. All this will help us to take care of the soil. Otherwise, if we are ignorant, what happens? We don't care. The soil came from somewhere, it will go somewhere, I don't care. That kind of attitude will be formed within us. But if we are aware about the real time that it is taking, or the factors that are affecting the formation of the soil, then we will be really taking care. We will be considering it as a precious gift, and we will be trying the level best protecting. Suppose we find somewhere the water is simply flowing and the soil is washed away, then we will try to do something. Maybe we can make a bund there, we can block it, or we can plant a few trees there so that the roots will protect the soil. So many things we can do. But if we are not aware about the value of the soil, what happens? Oh, I don't care, let it go as much as it can go, I don't care. So such a kind of ideas will enter into our minds, and we will be the loser. Afterwards, we will have no good soil. The soil will flow away down and it will reach to the seas and the rivers and so on. So we will be the loser if such things happen. So it is our responsibility to take care of the soil in our surroundings and really value it, how precious it is, how much God has given us this nature, this beautiful nature. And so at least if we cannot take care of it, then how can we expect more, isn't it? So what is given to us, we need to take care of it, we need to appreciate it, and we need to do our level best to protect the soil, and the soil will help us to give us to more harvest, more crops, and we'll be able to use this land for making house and other constructions, all that. The land is very much important. If you take care, then the land will yield much more to us. So thank you for listening. We shall wind up for today, and bye. See you in the next class.